Welcome back to another episode of BlackYard Chickenz presents EGGcellent Adventures. Reece right here. We got another special guest, Lisa Steele with Fresh Eggs Daily. She's an author. She's a TV show host, actress. She also has an array of products for chicken and poultry, and she has a wonderful homestead too. So welcome to the show, Miss Lisa. How you doing?
Hey, thanks for having me.
So I want to talk about a few different things today, including this TV show you got coming up, this cookbook that we've been seeing everything posted. Then you got the seasoning. Is it the devilish dill seasoning?
Yeah, this has been an exciting year, that's for sure.
You got a lot going on, and I love it. I love every second of it. But first and most, we met you through your content. You post such wonderful content. You have over 100,000 followers, and you have all your poultry, your ducks, your geese, your chicken. I saw a post the other day of you feeding your geese, and one of them was acting a little bougie with you. So we got to talk about it. But we did find out that you're a fifth generation poultry dealer, as we like to call them.
Yeah, we can trace back, and it's actually 5 generations of women in my family.
Oh, wow.
Which is really cool. Yeah. So we can trace back 5 generations for sure. And before that, everybody raised everything, so it probably goes back to the beginning of time.
Got you. Now, if I'm not mistaken, you're in the Northeast, right?
Yeah, we're in Maine.
Okay, well, let's talk. Okay, now it's several things that we need to talk about, especially because you guys deal with harsh winters. So we want to talk about some coop care in the wintertime and things of that nature. But fifth generation, we love to ask everybody when we start a show, what was your old cluck moment? I'm thinking maybe it was when you were younger, but what was your adult old cluck moment? That moment that you realized, okay, I am a chicken lady now.
I was sitting at my desk at Morgan Stanley. I was working on Wall Street, and I looked around, and I was like, this is not where I belong. I belong on a farm in muck food. Yeah, I came from a small town. I had chickens as a kid, and that's where I belong.
Okay, I love that. Morgan Stanley is no job to fret over. I mean, I went to visit one time during our financial seminar, so I know you're dealing with a higher dollar situation, and you're just sitting at your desk like, you know what, it's time for a change. I need to get back to my chicken roots.
Gotta go. Yep.
At that time, did you have poultry?
No. I had completely. Yeah, I was living on Long Island. I was taking the train. I was doing the whole commuter thing. Yep.
City thing, and then you decided I'm gonna move on out. So, what moment did you make that pivot, and then what was your first batch of birds?
Yeah, so my husband was in the Navy, and we ended up in Virginia. He was stationed in Norfolk, and we bought a little farm kind of outside of the city, and we got some horses. And I started raising chickens. It was 2009, so homesteading was kind of, getting popular again. BlackYard Chickenz, the recession, and I wasn't really excited about it. I had chickens as a kid, but I figured, I love animals. We have a barn. I want to put some animals in it. So I got the chickens and just started posting pictures of them on social media, Facebook at that time. And people just responded.
Oh, okay. So you back in 2009, you posting stuff on Facebook, and you were getting a good feedback from that and a lot of interaction from it.
Yeah. Facebook was good for. I still have almost 700,000 followers over there.
We saw.
I don't know who's still there, but. I've kind of moved over to Instagram more now, but people, I guess because I'd had them as a kid, so I had that background. I knew kind of more than I thought I did.
Yeah.
As a kid, you're not really paying attention to how to keep them alive or anything like that.
You're just doing chores, right?
Yeah, you're doing chores. You're collecting eggs. The rooster's chasing you. But my grandmother, who also had chickens, obviously, was still alive at the time, and she lived to be 99 years old.
Wow.
And it was so much fun to talk to her, because she had such different memories. She didn't name all her chickens. It was a chicken farm.
Yeah, I got you.
We ate her chickens. they were for me. As a kid, it didn't bother me. Now, I'd rather eat sticks and twigs instead of eating one of my chickens.
I understand. Is it because you name them?
No, it's because they're I mean, you feed them every day. Even if
Yeah,
they
yeah.
didn't have names, you have to look them in the eye. And you realize, I mean, they have great personalities. They have this whole social order. You look at them more as pets, or I do,
Hmm. Yeah.
as livestock. It would be like eating our cat.
That's a good way to put it. That's a
Yeah.
good way to put it. I go by the name rule. If I name it, I can't eat it.
That's what people say, but sometimes I forget my chickens' names. I've
Mm-mm.
had so many over the years, and so even if I forget their name, I'm still not going to eat them.
I got you. I got you. How many do you have? Do you know how many you have right now?
Yeah, so we have 14 chickens, 10 ducks, and 2 geese.
Okay. Okay. I
That's
saw
a
the
lot of
geese
names.
last. That is a lot. That's a lot of poultry. It's a whole lot of poultry. At what point in your journey did chicken math happen? Did you start out with a couple and then it blossomed?
It did. We started out with 6. It was kind of like going to the candy store and saying, I'll take 2 of those, and 2 of those, and 2 of those. And then before I knew it, we had 35 or something like that.
Mm.
I'm not even really sure how that happened.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. And it's funny because in Virginia, the law was you could have 2 large animals or 6 small per acre.
Mm.
So we had 6 acres. So technically, 36 chickens would have been our limit, except we had the 2 horses
Hmm.
and we had 2 dogs. But I mean, who's counting?
Right. I was gonna say, who polices that? Do they come out and say, "Oh no, we have to get rid of 2 chickens"?
2 chickens. You have too many chickens. Yeah. That
I
was a
got
lot,
you.
though. 3 dozen was way too much. I mean,
Hmm.
you're getting way too many eggs. We couldn't
Yeah.
give them away because everyone around us had chickens, and it just gets to be really stressful. I like around a dozen. I think around a
Okay.
dozen chickens is a good, manageable flock size.
Okay. Up in Maine, what kind of chickens work better in that climate? Because it gets really hot in the summer. I've seen it upwards 100 degrees. I've seen you do some
Hmm.
hacks with the seed soup and stuff like that. We could talk about it. But and then the winter gets really harsh. So are there any certain breeds that you tend to go toward?
Yeah, most of the ones I have are the bigger girls, the full-bodied girls.
Big girls need love too.
Yeah, big girls have a better time staying warm in the winter. I tried to stay away from the chickens with the really large combs
Yeah.
because they can get frostbite. Basically, no chicken likes the heat.
Hmm.
So they're all hot in the summer. They all do pretty well in the winter. The winter was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
We don't heat our coop. I just put in a lot of straw. Everybody kind of nestles together. Just from body heat, our coop stays about 20 degrees warmer than the outside temperature, which
You
is
have a
crazy.
you have a really beautiful coop too. I seen it looks like a little barn. Almost looks like a she shed.
Yes,
Um,
she said full of chickens.
right. Is the ventilation? I can't tell from the pictures. Is it more toward the top?
Yeah, so we have vents up under the eaves on both
Okay.
sides,
Got
and
you.
then we have a window on the 2 sides and 2 windows in the front.
Got you.
So
And then the winter,
there's really good and good. Yeah.
I understand because on our coop we have like the hardware cloth going around it. So in the winter, if it gets really really cold, we have to use the tarp to like keep the draft out. I guess you wouldn't have to do that because of where the ventilation is. That's really cool.
Yeah, and the windows are real windows, like they open and shut. So we
Okay.
have the regular screen on them for flies, but then I also have the hardware cloth, so raccoons and weasels and stuff can't get in.
Yeah, yeah. I used to live in New Jersey and we had weasels. I was just about to ask you about keeping predators out.
It's tough, and I think a bear actually got my bird feeders the other day,
Wow.
which is one reason why I wanted a really nice, sturdy coop.
Hmm.
Something that a bear can't take apart.
Got you.
We've never seen one, but we've seen them on the trail cam. And we
Yeah.
have, fish and cats, coyotes, fox, hawks, owls. I mean, the typical predators.
I mean, that's lions and tigers and bears we're talking about here, Lisa. Yeah. This isn't the regular stuff. I have to deal with stray dogs. Like I got coyotes, bears, weasels, raccoons, cheetahs.
Yeah, but no, cheetahs, yeah, jaguars, bobcats. Right. But honestly, dogs scare me more than anything because, like a coyote or a fox, if they see you, they're probably going to take off. Mm-hmm. Whereas a neighbor's dog is not going to care. And dogs just, I mean, they don't mean to. It's not that they're vicious. They see a little squeak toy out there in the yard.
Right. And then it's more so fun than famine.
Exactly.
Right. Well, tell me about your dogs. I know you said do you still have dogs now, or do you have any livestock protection animals?
So we had a German Shepherd. We lost her, unfortunately.
Sorry to hear that.
She was like 11. She was a good dog. Great, watching out for everybody when they were out free ranging.
Yeah.
So now we have a corgi who is not such great protection.
Well, I got you. But they're fun to look at.
And then he loves the chickens. He's so good with the chickens. He'll go out when they're out. He doesn't chase them. He doesn't bother them. But he'll just go under the picnic table and fall asleep. So he's not good for protection at all.
I got you. Maybe if a bear sees him, he'll fall out laughing, and then it'll be good.
Like, it'll be good. This? Yeah.
Right. I love that. I want to get a corgi too. I mean, I just love how they look. I've seen your videos of him walking through the snow and stuff like that. I was like, yeah. That'll add the value, because I say that one of the things that we don't look at when we get chickens, or people don't see, is the mental health value. When you see a chicken run, you can't be mad.
Right. So true.
How is that for you? Does that help you find any balance or anything like that with having poultry and livestock?
I mean, sure, any animal. The cat, the dog, all the animals. Sometimes, especially when it's freezing out, I don't want to get up and go outside.
Right.
So I fortify myself with a cup of coffee, and then finally I trudge outside. But every time I get down there, you're right. You just kind of feel like you just want to stay there. I'm always like, I'll just run down quick. I'll fill up their water. I'll feed them. I'll come back.
And then you're out there for 3 hours.
20 minutes later. Yeah, 3 hours. I'm still out there, freezing to death.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I found that out the hard way this winter. I was like, I'm going to just run out here real quick, break up this ice, and make sure everybody has water. And I ran out in flip-flops and shorts. And it was like,
oh, no.
Probably like, it doesn't get super cold here, but it was a good cold day. It was probably like 20 degrees. And I was out there for like an hour, and I was like, what am I doing?
It's funny. But, in the coop, it really is a lot warmer. As soon as I open that door and I go in with all the straw and the sunlight coming in, it's so much warmer, even on a freezing day.
Yeah, definitely. You guys do deep litter during the winter?
I mean, sort of modified, because we have the ducks too, and they sleep on the floor.
Okay.
So I do like to have fresh straw for them. But roughly, I really don't do a good clean out until the spring. I just keep adding more bedding. Sometimes I rake out the really dirty stuff. But the deep litter, it just makes so much sense. There are people who clean their coops like a couple times a week. Even once a week. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah, to me, that sounds like a lot.
It's a lot. I think people, they work too hard. I know people who will rake out their run. Yeah. I mean, in 15 years, I've never raked my run out, ever. I mean, it starts out grass. They scratch it up in like 3 days, so you have dirt.
Yeah.
And then they have dirt for the rest of the time. They poop, it dries out, it disintegrates.
Right.
I'll throw in straw, or I'll throw in pine needles or dried leaves. They love that. It all disintegrates and turns back into dirt.
Yeah.
And I see these people hauling in like truckloads of sand or river rock or all this other stuff. And I'm like, why? It's dirt. Dirt is free.
Right.
They love it. There's worms in it.
Yep, exactly. It kind of defeats the purpose a little bit.
It does. I mean, I'll put logs, like we have like short logs in the run, like around the edges, and every once in a while I flip them over, and the chickens and ducks like can dig for the worms and bugs and stuff underneath them.
Yeah.
Like they love that, and it's free and it's easy. I don't, I don't understand making more work when you don't need to. You know.
Lisa's gonna help us make it easier out here. Just listen. Just
Yeah,
listen.
it's true. I think a lot of people give up because they say they're too much work. But if you kind of have your setup and your routine, and then people say, "Oh, I can't even imagine not cleaning my coop every day. That's gross." And I'm thinking, I haven't cleaned mine in 3 months, and we had a film crew here last week, and everything was fine. Like nothing smells, nothing's dirty. It's just figuring it all out.
I get it. Let's talk about it since you mentioned it. The film crew, this My Farm. Tell me about this TV show and everything. How did it come about?
Yeah. So it started out actually on NBC in Maine. One of the producers, I went to them with the idea of a TV show, local chickens, whatever. They loved it. So it aired for, I think, 1 year on NBC here in Maine. And then public television came to me and said that they wanted to pick it up nationwide.
Wow.
So we're going into season 2. Yeah. It's going to start airing in October on over 300 public television stations and also on Create TV. And it's also streaming on Passport. So, like, if you have Passport, which is the public television streaming service, you can watch season 1. And they'll probably start re-airing season 1 leading up to season 2. They usually do that. But I can't tell you what time or day because it depends on your local station.
Right,
But definitely check your listings. I'll, be posting as I have more information. But it's just a super fun show. I go around Maine, I visit other farms, I pick fresh produce, I cook, I hang out with my chickens. It's kind of like just a day, but the film crew watches me and films me.
How good does it feel that you left your job and now your job is what you wanted to do and love?
Which I love. I'm making tons more money than I ever made on Wall Street, which is insane. And I actually enjoy what I do. And I don't have to take the train anymore.
All positives. Let's say this again. You make a ton of more money than you did on Wall Street, and you're outside with chickens doing this. I love it.
Yep.
I love it.
And it's creative. Every day is different. I have a product line, so I can, help develop the products and design the labels. And it's just different every day, which I love.
No, I see it. And you got chicken nutrition. I've seen salves. You got some health products. Tell us about some of the products you have. And some of the things we should have. All poultry farmers should have from your product line.
They should have them all. No. No, I started using a bunch of supplements with my chickens because I'm really big into preventive care, like for myself and our animals. If you keep them healthy, you build their immune systems, you're going to have less problems down the road, right?
Right.
So I work a lot on that. So I give them brew yeast and garlic and kelp and flax. For omega-3s and immune health and digestive health, I give them probiotics. And I started working with a lab who developed them specifically for the chickens. And it's been great because I was using products for like horses and dogs prior to that.
Yeah.
Just because I knew that there was still value, So it's a daily feed supplement line that you just, mix into your feed. And I mean, knock on wood, I have never had a sick chicken in almost 15 years, ever. Like nothing. They live to be like 10 or 11 years old. They just kind of die of old age. So it's been really wonderful, and I really do believe in them. In addition to the feed and the water and the eggshells and the grit, I really do think they need supplements. I don't have problems with Fluffy Butt Friday is a big thing, right?
Yeah,
We all
yeah.
love fluffy butts. Let's put
Right.
it that way. Probiotics, they're so good for people, for your digestive systems, and
Hmm.
if you start with your baby chicks, they're just going to be healthy.
Yeah.
And I get email every day from people, all kinds of problems with their chickens. And I just feel like a little preventive care just goes a really long way.
Nah, that's amazing. I mean, you talking about 15 years and not one sick chicken, knock on wood, like you said, and people are hitting you up trying to get this information. How good does it make you
Mhm.
feel that you're able to help turn somebody else's luck around?
Yeah, it really does. I mean, I know that I've helped people. I get a lot of hateful email and messages as well, because it's social media.
Right.
But I do get so many nice messages from people, that I've helped them. They didn't know what was wrong, or they didn't know what to do, and I'm pretty much available 24/7. I have helped people step by step, like, let's try this, let's try that, and sometimes it doesn't work, and chickens are, whatever. They're hard to figure out what's going on.
Hmm.
Um, but I do know that I have helped people, and I feel like that makes a difference. It made a difference to that person and that
Yeah.
chicken.
Absolutely. I mean, just and I've seen that on social media. The negative comments do get loud for whatever reason. They seem louder because you can have 1,000 good ones and one bad one. But
Hmm.
what social media platforms do you kind of lean toward on another one you're like posting and stuff? Like right now, I know TikTok is really cool for me. It's a lot of helpful comments, and it doesn't get as much unsolicited or unwarranted advice as Facebook does sometimes. What about you?
Yeah, Facebook has just gotten really nasty, and even worse is the spam and the bots and the trolls,
Mm.
and the porn and the, like, I could spend my whole day just deleting all that nonsense.
Yeah.
Um, so I've tried to move away from there. I do enjoy Instagram, um, and Reels a little bit. I did TikTok for a while, but it just takes a lot of time, as you know, video content, and I don't feel like I'm cool enough for that. Um,
I
so
beg to
yeah, so I
differ.
mean,
I beg to differ. You have great content. I think you
I don't
are. You have
know.
a whole TV show. What do you mean you're not cool enough?
I don't know. I don't feel like I'm cool enough for TikTok. And I tried Threads, but I don't even understand the point. Like, I wish
It's
there was just one platform,
yeah,
because
me
it's
too.
just too much. There's Pinterest, which, I don't
Hmm.
know. That's just kind of like on autopilot, but it's still there. And then there's Twitter, and there's Threads, and then there's all the other, like, super politically charged platforms, which, I talk about
Right,
chickens, so I don't want to be on there.
right.
Um, but I'd be happy if social media kind of just collapsed and went away. I honestly
Mm.
enjoy doing a TV show.
Yeah,
I love writing books. I like doing in-person events. Like, I like that stuff,
me
I think
too.
you can
Yeah.
just get sucked into the social media hole. And for me, it goes away. Like, if it's not on your first page, nobody really ever sees it again. So you're creating all this great content that's limited life. My blog is there, it's searchable. It's content that I feel like people see, like posts from 2012 are still getting hundreds or thousands of views a month. So I feel like that's more sustainable. I put my time into that, and that's going to help people for a longer time, if that makes sense.
It does. It does. It's because it's content specific to people knowing what they're coming for.
Hmm. I
I
mean,
definitely
I
understand.
love the entertainment value. I can scroll reels way longer than I should, but it's mostly for just pure entertainment. Like, it's a lot of corgis, it's a lot of cupcake frosting, it's a lot of kittens, whatever.
Hmm.
But if I want to learn something, I'm definitely, like, Googling or going to a site that I use a lot or whatever.
Right, right. So we need to Google some chicken nutrition or how to make the best deviled eggs ever. We're going to your
Yeah,
website. We're going
yeah,
to Fresh Eggs
exactly.
Daily. Let's talk
Exactly,
about
because
this
that is, like,
cookbook.
random. Like,
Yeah,
you might see a post on the best deviled eggs, but you might not. Like,
yeah.
TikTok and Reels are very, very random.
Right, very much so. Like you might
Yeah.
try to hit a hashtag for chicken coops, and it'll pull up a KFC that's shaped like a chicken coop. So I understand.
Yeah, and three hours later, you're like, wait, chicken coops, and now I'm
Yeah,
looking at like, whatever, like corgis dressed like Batman, which for some reason
right.
that always happens to me.
Yeah, we call it rabbit holes, and we end up
Yeah,
deep in them, especially 3 in the
right,
morning.
exactly.
Cool. Let's talk about the cookbook. How did that come about? Like, what was the first one that you wanted to write, and then, or what was that first recipe that gave you the kind of motivation to do it?
So obviously, I've been cooking eggs like a lot of years, right?
Right.
And I've written a lot of books on chickens, and I kept saying to my editor, like, because he'd say to me as I was finishing up a book, like, what do you want to write next? And we would kind of brainstorm, and I kept saying a cookbook, and he just was not into it. Did not like the idea. Didn't think, whatever. So then, right before COVID started, or right as, I said, you know what? I really, really want a cookbook. It's just something that, like, I've always loved cooking and baking and watching the Food Network and all that. And so I had a heart to heart with him, and he was super nice. He let me out of my contract with them, and basically, wished me luck and said, if you ever want to come back and write more chicken books, we're here. So I hired an agent, and he loved the idea, pitched the book around, and HarperCollins also loved the idea. And all of a sudden, I had a cookbook deal with HarperCollins, which
Wow.
is insane.
It is, and it's wonderful though. That's amazing.
It is. That was one of the pinch me moments. Like, it's one thing to write chicken books with a medium sized publisher when you raise chickens for so long and you have a blog and all these followers, but like a cookbook with HarperCollins, that's like a big deal.
Yeah.
And I, dove in and I started, pulling recipes, my favorites, and this and that. And a couple of months in, I think it actually sunk in, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm actually writing a cookbook."
That's amazing. I mean, some people may not be able to put it together. That's like me saying, okay, I want to put an album together, and then Quincy Jones calls me. It's like, okay, I'm going to produce it for you. That's basically what happened.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, great. And then 3 months later, you're like, oh my God, I'm doing an album with Quincy Jones. Like, because people have asked me over the years if I ever have like imposter syndrome. And honestly, no, never, because I know my stuff. I know chickens. I know how to raise them. I'm 100% confident in the advice I was giving. I felt very comfortable with what I was doing.
Yeah.
Didn't feel like an imposter for a second. When the cookbook came out, I felt like an imposter. Because I was like, I don't have any formal training, no background in this, but it was so well received. And, it got a Publisher's Weekly review, which was wonderful. I was on NPR. I mean, just so many moments that, like, if I had a bucket list, they would be on it, and it's selling really well. It's ranked right up there with some of the really big cookbook authors. So I'm like, well, maybe I'm not an imposter. Like, maybe I really do know how to cook.
The accolades kind of speak for themselves, and I'm sure you tasted your products before you put the recipes in there.
No, I did, and a lot of them are ones that I make all the time, so I knew that they worked. They did hire a recipe tester, and then when we were shooting the cookbook, the photos, they, obviously had to make the every recipe, and it was professional chef doing
There
that.
you go. Right.
So that was kind of nerve-wracking because I was afraid that some of them wouldn't work, but they did.
There you go. Now you're a bestseller. I like it. Let's get back to the coops. We talked about kind of your structure and things you do in the winter for preventative, but what are some of those hacks that you've picked up, or something that you think every person with a chicken coop or backyard chicken should know?
That's a really good question. I think one of the things that I see a lot that I don't necessarily agree with is when people have a completely covered run, with a solid roof.
Yeah.
Because sunlight is really a great way to kill all kinds of germs and pathogens, dry things out. So it might seem like it's a great idea to have a covered run. I really like one that's open to the sunlight. because it's going to be healthier in the long run. Chickens also need vitamin D in order to lay eggs. So if they're not getting out in the sun at least part of their day, that's going to be detrimental. Um, that's probably the biggest mistake I see. I think most people by now have figured out that you can't use chicken wire.
Yeah.
That's not going to keep anything out.
Nothing at all.
Nothing. Although I do see some real brand new people, beautiful coop, chandelier, the whole deal.
Right.
And their whole run is made out of chicken wire. And I'm thinking,
That'll last 30
chickens aren't
minutes.
going to last a week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to go overboard in the predator proofing.
Yeah. What's a predator-proof hack? I know you kind of said it earlier with the solid coop with the ventilation, but what's another thing that we may not have mentioned that you think would be great?
Okay, the latches and things on your coop, raccoons are everywhere. They can slide deadbolts. They can lift up latches. So you really want like a lock with a carabiner, or even a padlock on it. I love those locking eye hooks.
Yeah.
The ones with spring-loaded eye hooks. And they have to be on everything. Your coop door, your run door. Some of the coops have the lid on the nesting boxes.
Yes.
That a lot of people forget to lock, and raccoons will slide in at night. I got a lot of people emailing me about that.
Got you. Do you have anything specific to snake? I get a question about snakes every day, and I say, okay, we use cayenne pepper around the coop, right? Because they slide through it, get irritated, and immediately leave. I've never had a snake problem. Knock on wood. What about you?
That's interesting. That is one of my most popular posts, month after month, week after week, is how to keep snakes out of your coop. Here, fortunately, we haven't had a problem. Maine doesn't have any venomous snakes or anything. But in Virginia,
oh yeah,
we had those black rat snakes, and they would get in the coop, curl up in the nest, they would eat the eggs. Cayenne is a great idea. Also sulfur, like powdered sulfur you can sprinkle around.
Okay.
And also, if you have mice or rats that are burrowing up into your run,
yes,
the snakes will use those tunnels. So it's really important to stuff like aluminum foil or what's that other stuff? Like you scrub pots with.
Oh, the Brillo pads.
Brillo pads, something like that. Push those into the holes so the snakes can't use those tunnels.
Okay.
But also the best tip, which comes from John Wayne, cowboys, when they would sleep like out in the prairie or wherever they were sleeping, they would take their lariat or lefty, whatever it's called, and make a circle around themselves. So if you take like a thick rope and just lay it on the ground around your coop, supposedly snakes won't go over it.
Oh, they may think it's a bigger snake. That makes sense.
I guess. I don't really know how a snake thinks, but apparently that works.
I don't trust anything with meat.
Wayne, so.
Well, it worked for him, right? That makes sense. I mean, I'm sure everybody probably has a busted garden hose or something like that they could loop around their coop, and then it'll probably keep the snakes out.
And just like every other predator, a couple layers of protection never hurts. So do the cayenne, do everything.
Yeah, it doesn't. It does not hurt at all. I lock my doors and turn on my alarm. I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Is there anything that you have borrowed lately from another poultry person or gotten some advice lately that you wouldn't mind sharing?
This is so bad to say, but I don't really follow that many other chicken accounts.
It's not. You know what? You're kind of the queen of chicken farming. So, you're 15 years, and I think you're the person who's had the most experience in years, best-selling author, TV show, so I understand.
It's so bad. I mean, sometimes I'll Google to, research something or find another topic for a blog post. And, like, all the posts that come up are mine. Well, that's not really very helpful.
It's a great problem to have.
Exactly. I follow a lot of corgi accounts. That's all I have to say.
There we go. Well, give me a piece of corgi advice.
Oh, definitely thinking about getting a corgi. They're great farm dogs. Their tails used to be docked I believe it's illegal now, but some of them actually has evolved that they don't have tails. But that was so livestock couldn't grab onto their tails, if they were
Gotcha.
hurting the sheep or the goats or whatever. Also, because they're so low to the ground, they roll really well, so they can roll quickly out of the way if a cow or a horse is going to kick them.
Okay.
And they can also go under fences. So when we had our horses, we had fencing and there was a gate, and our German Shepherd used to have to go around, to get out. The corgis would just go under the fence.
See, I'm trying to talk my lady into not getting a corgi, and you just gave me 45 reasons now I have to get one.
45 reasons to get a corgi, yeah. No, they are really great little farm dogs. I mean,
Right.
they're not afraid of anything. He's just a great little dog.
I love it. We got a female German Shepherd and a Great Pyrenees. Why not get a corgi? Now we have
And that's what we
large.
need.
Yeah.
Large, medium, and small. I mean, we do need a dog that's outside 24/7 just to get the coyote.
Well, maybe
Yeah,
I
the
can.
corgi's not it.
He's good for so many other things, though.
Yeah.
Well, now maybe I can tell you about something. Those Great Pyrenees, A1
Yeah.
dog, unmatched, and they'll do well in that climate up there.
Yes, I believe that. You always see the videos in the winter of the Pyrenees out in the snow, and all the people are posting, "Let that dog in the house," whatever. Put a jacket on that dog, and that's where the dog is the happiest.
Yep. All right, let's get into some of our faster questions now as we wind down.
Okay.
If somebody was just getting started, because you have the trifecta, you have geese, ducks, and chicken, where would you tell them to start at if they wanted some backyard poultry?
I mean, I really love ducks. If I had to do it over again, I think I would just stick with the ducks. They're so much easier. They're better layers. They're definitely more cold hardy. They're always in good mood. Way more entertaining. So the chickens lose out.
Oh man, okay, I like it. Duck Mama speaks. They're in better moods than chickens.
Oh yeah, chickens are always grouchy. You know that.
Yes, unless you have food in hand.
Exactly. Or it's too hot, or it's too cold, or it's raining, or it's snowing. Ducks are happy no matter what.
I love it. I'm on my first batch of ducks. We got 4 ducks that we're brooding right now.
You are gonna love them. I mean, just watching them interact with the chickens, it's almost like they laugh at the chickens because the chickens are always so unhappy.
Tell me a little trick on how I could integrate those two, because obviously all my chickens are grown. They've got their pecking order already set. I got 4 babies and a brooder. I was gonna try to do an introduction through a dog kennel fence like we normally do, but I didn't know if there were certain special hacks that we need to get into.
I mean, not really. Ducks don't really have a pecking order. I feel like there's always a different leader. Every day they just kind of go, "Okay, Fern, you're in charge today." And I've never had a problem adding ducks to chickens. The chickens seem to understand that they're not part of their pecking order. So you kind of can just add them. And ducks get so big so fast that, by 8 or 10 weeks, they're going to be as big as the chickens. I was worried at first that the ducks were really going to get beat on by the chickens. I mean, chickens have beaks, they have talons, and my money would be on the ducks if it came down to it. They don't take any nonsense from the chickens.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. And these ducks are getting really big fast, and I'm glad you said that, because I thought maybe I had steroids in my ducks or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
The ducks are
No,
getting huge.
They grow really, really fast. Yeah. And if you can get them out on the grass, maybe free range everybody, see how they do.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
they
we
should be
have
fine.
we have a separate pen set up for the ducks with a little
Okay.
pool in it and stuff, but I'm thinking maybe we can integrate, and then I can use that pen for something else. Maybe a super huge tortoise. Who knows? As I look
or
to the
geese.
left to see if I get approval.
Geese. We do love the geese. If
The
geese
geese.
laid more, they only lay for maybe 2 months. They don't lay very many, 25 or 30 eggs a year maybe. But if the geese laid more eggs, then I would definitely say we would just do geese. Because
Okay.
they are definitely the best.
So the geese outdo the ducks now.
They do, except for the laying issue. I mean,
Okay.
they're bigger, so you don't have to worry about hawks or, smaller predators.
Yes. And they're
And the
mean.
geese pretty much, they can be when they're, sitting on their nest or whatever during mating season.
Uh huh.
But, I mean, ours are super sweet. We hand raise them and they eat grass. I mean, if you
They
live somewhere
graze.
where there's grass year round,
Hmm.
you probably wouldn't have to feed them.
Okay. Okay, I see it. So I know the ducks can be cooped with the chickens. Geese need to be separate, it sounds like.
We have ours separate just because they're so much bigger. I mean,
Gotcha.
they really are huge, and I don't want anyone to get stepped on or trampled or hurt or whatever. So we do have
Gotcha.
ours separate.
Got you. Okay. That sounds great, man. I really appreciate that information. So, any duck hack that I should know before I let you off of this podcast? Any duck hack? Because we're new duck people.
Yeah, ducks get a really bad rap. People say they're so messy and dirty. Ducks are super clean, but they make a huge water mess. So
Okay.
no food and water inside ever.
Okay.
Always outside year round. And understand that runoff from your air conditioner or your downspout, they're going to make a huge mud puddle in it.
Okay. Anywhere that they can get access to moisture, they're going to find it and
They
utilize it.
love their water. The gravity waterers do not work. They'll empty them in 4 seconds.
Wow.
So you've got
Okay.
to use like bowls or tubs or whatever, which they will then hop in and swim in.
And because of their bills, you really can't use a nipple waterer, huh?
Oh, they'll empty those too. Once they figure out that they can do something and the water keeps coming out, they'll just keep doing it.
Okay. Okay. Good to know. But they can't actually drink from it, though, right?
I mean, they can. I personally don't think those nipple waterers are natural for any poultry.
Right.
Because they don't nurse. That's not, they're not mammals.
Yeah.
So drinking out of a bowl or something like that is more normal for them.
Makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. Yes. Okay. Well, thank you, Lisa. I appreciate your time. I want everybody to check out her on Instagram, social media, Fresh Eggs Daily. Make sure you get those cookbooks. Make sure you get that seasoning. It can all be found on your website, right?
Yes, the links to everything are on my website or on social media at Fresh Eggs Daily.
Cool. And then we'll be looking out for season 2.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. I can't wait. I wish I was in Maine. I would love to be on it. I got goats now. I feel special.
Where are you?
We're in Douglasville, it's like west of Atlanta.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe
Yep.
we'll travel for season 3.
Okay, if so, then let me know. We appreciate you
Okay.
coming on. Thanks
It's a
for
deal.
joining.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely appreciate you being part of Excellent Adventure. You guys, we got another great episode on the way. Stay tuned for that. Lisa, we appreciate you once again. This is another episode of Excellent Adventures with Reece and BlackYard Chickenz.